Hello again, everybody. So I got a or video for you today, and that is, do you like the Elite 110 or do you like the Honda Ruckus? And the reason I'm calling this an or video is I've got about the same amount of money invested in both. So when you go to purchase one of these, going back to 2010, this particular bike was retailing for $29.99, and it was on sale everywhere for around $25.99. The Ruckus at the time was $21.99, and that was pretty much the price anywhere you went. So there was around a $400 difference between these two bikes. That's when they were brand new. Now, when I purchased the Elite 110, I paid $1,500 for it, and I've got about $200 invested in it. And the Ruckus I've paid $1,400 for, and I've got about $250 invested in it. So now it comes down to, it's not a price thing. It's a, which bike do you like better? Do you like the Elite 110 better, or do you like the Ruckus better? When I originally did a video on the Elite 110, I did a versus video with this bike compared to my 1984 Elite. And I did mention some harsh criticism of the Ruckus. And I still believe most of what I said is true. Now, I've owned the Ruckus since doing that video, so now I have at least an opinion where I have both bikes. And the Ruckus, again, if you don't plan on doing anything to it, you plan on just leaving it as is and riding it around the neighborhood, it's not going to be something I would prefer over the Elite 110. And the reason for that is this. The Elite 110 is a much, much more comfortable ride. The seat is more comfortable, a lot more comfortable than the Ruckus. The actual braking is better, having a disc brake. Now you do get the wider tires, so that does help. But overall, after riding that bike for around 3 or 4 miles around the neighborhood, or riding this one, I believe that the Elite 110 is a more comfortable bike. Now, which one holds more value? I think, again, that's going to be or. It really depends on what you want the bike for. Where the Ruckus shines, though, completely outshines this bike, is there are so many options that you can do on that bike. So many different parts that are available. Anything from stretching it out, to lowering it, to putting a GY6 150cc or even bigger motor in it than that. You can do all those things to that particular bike where you can't this. So I guess when you go to the dealer or you go to buy one of these, you really have to put in perspective, what do you want to use the bike for? Now with me, I wanted the Ruckus and I just wanted to ride it around the neighborhood. It's completely stock except for a Polini variator that I have on it, and I upgraded the bike, in my opinion, by putting the 2011 plastics and decals on it instead of the black. I also put those little Honda emblems on it. But to me, it's fun to ride around the neighborhood. I enjoy it. It's extremely slow. Even with the variator in it, it's slow. I've had it as high as 42 miles an hour. Now that Elite 110, putting the new rear tire on it and changing the rollers up, it does 55 miles an hour easily. So there's a lot more places I can go on that bike than I can on this one. Now, there's been some arguments in the past, okay, well, the Ruckus is not considered a motorcycle. So if you consider a motorcycle, then don't go with a Ruckus. I hate to break it to you, but most states consider this a motorcycle. I've already researched more than 10 with hardly looking at all that if a bike goes over 30 miles an hour, it's a motorcycle. Now, there are a lot of states that have a 49cc requirement too, but that's usually not the only criteria. So if you're buying this in a state and it lists it as a moped, then you're in luck. Then you could ride it around just with your regular car license. But my experience in the 4 or 5 states that I've lived in, they all consider a Ruckus a motorcycle just because it goes over 30 miles an hour. So not having that criteria any longer, and going back to the difference between the bikes, why do you want this bike over that bike? Or why do you want that bike over this bike? Both the bikes hold their value, so it's not like you can say that the Ruckus is going to hold its value if you go to sell it. Because the Elite 110, that bike, I can get $2,000 all day for that bike too. And I believe that's probably what I can get for this bike. So it comes down to, really, what do you want to do with the bike? Do you want to have something that looks kind of like an off-road vehicle that obviously can't go off-road? Or do you want something that's got mega storage under the seat? And that's the huge difference, I think, really, between the bikes. Is if you're going to ride this around the neighborhood and you're looking for something that holds lots and lots of things, that's not even a comparison. Now, you could buy one of those under-seat storages for the Ruckus and probably put about half as much as you can get in this. But at least you'd have a place to store things. I like them both. I think they're both worth $2,000. And I think if I was going to upgrade this one and put a bigger motor in it, put a new exhaust on it, and was willing to put another $1,000, $1,500 or more into it, then I would buy this bike. But if I'm just going to ride it around the neighborhood, and it's a neighborhood that requires a motorcycle license, then I'm going to prefer this bike all day long to that one. Just because of how fast you can go on this bike, the storage that you have on it. If you can find one of these, because they didn't sell well. I mean, that's the obvious difference. This bike in 2010, it was a 1-year model, and it didn't sell real well. And I'll give you that, where the Ruckus is much more popular. But when you see these come up for sale, they're always holding their value. They're always around $2,500, $2,000. This one's only got about, I don't know, let's see how many miles I actually have on it. 1,200 miles on it. The Ruckus has got just under 300. So I could tomorrow take this bike and put it on Craigslist or somewhere for $2,000, and I think, you know, when it comes down to it, which one do you like better? Again, I don't think it's a versus video. I don't want to say this one's better over that one. It really depends on what you want to do with the bikes. But when it comes to just stock, ride them around the neighborhood, if you find one of these for $2,000 and you like to be riding in comfort, I definitely would state get that bike over this one. And if you want to get a bike that you want to customize and do all kinds of cool things to it, I definitely would say to buy this one over and I think you can't go wrong really owning either one. It's Honda quality, and when you got Honda quality, it's something that no matter how long you own it, you're always going to be able to get your money back. So if you like my videos, please subscribe, and if you got any comments, don't agree or agree, I don't care either way, please let me know. Have a good day.